Hey music lovers, Sara J here. Looking for an inclusive space where you can connect with fellow fans, deep dive into your favorite music, and be a part of something special? Well, look no further. Join us on Patreon, where music and community come together. Get exclusive content, behind-the-scenes access, and a place to geek out over the artists you love, plus explore music you haven't heard yet. Come hang out with us. Patreon.com/DATC Media Company. That's patreon.com/DATC Media Company. See you there. A member of the DATC Media family. Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this week of Dropped Among This Crowd. I'm your host, Sara J. I hope that you were able to check out last week's episode. I went a little bit of a different route here on the show last week and got into some rock history and highlights for the week of January 7th through the 12th. I thought that would be a fun little idea for an episode here, and I got a lot of really great feedback. So that made me really excited. First of all, thank you so much to everyone that reached out anyways. I appreciate all the kind words and DMs that I receive from you guys, my amazing listeners, all the time. I just appreciate it and love it so much. But especially last week's episode, I really appreciate all the positive feedback that I received. So this week on the show, I decided to keep that trend going with some more iconic and unforgettable moments in music for the week of January 16th through the 22nd. I know there's like a gap there with like 4 days. So I wasn't sure how I wanted, if I was going to do these, if it was going to be like, you know, we picked up on the day that we left off with the last week's episode. So I don't know how I kind of want to do it, but that time frame seemed like a good time frame to work with because it also goes along with the week that this episode will be dropping, which, if you're listening, is January 20th, which also happens to be my youngest son's 11th birthday, Brendan. If you've been listening for a while here on the show, or you watch any of my live streams or follow me on social or anything like that, I definitely talk about my kids. Anyway, Brendan's birthday is today, January 20th. And I can't believe that he's 11. Like, that's just absolutely wild to me. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we decided to do with this week, is kind of give a rundown of some unforgettable moments in music history. Again, it is a week of pretty important moments in music, certainly. I mean, I don't know, there was just something about that week that we talked about in last week's episode. Just all of the people that either came onto or exited the planet during that time. It just seems cosmically something very interesting around those dates. But this time frame of January 16th through the 22nd is also a really important time frame in music history. January 16th, 1964, the Whisky A Go-Go opens. And, I mean, if you know anything about rock music history, the Whisky A Go-Go is an iconic Sunset Strip venue in Los Angeles. Iconic is putting it lightly. And And it's easily one of the most important venues in rock history. And I mean, I made a list here because I know that there's so many other artists, but certainly helped launch and shape careers for The Doors and Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and the Byrds and Frank Zappa, Janis Joplin, I mean, to name a few. And you could probably do, I mean, maybe there already has been done, a whole podcast series about the history of the Whisky A Go-Go. And I'm sure that there is a documentary that has been made about it. Just such an iconic building. It's one of those places where it's like, if these walls could talk, sort of a thing. You know, I would love to go there just anyway, but just to really get a feel for the energy inside of that room, even if it wasn't to see a show. I mean, obviously I want to see some music there, but even just to be in that building, just to feel the energy in that space, I can only imagine. And you know, it's still there, and it will forever remain a legendary space in live music history. Also on January 16th in 1992, Eric Clapton's MTV Unplugged session. That is easily one of rock history's most memorable acoustic performances on MTV Unplugged. Do you remember MTV, guys? VH1? Oh my goodness. We were actually talking about VH1 the other day. I was telling Brendan about Behind the Music and Pop-Up Video. Do you guys remember Pop-Up Video? That was like my favorite show on VH1. To get these little like tidbits of history about either the artist or the song or like this weird part of the music video, you know, would like pop up and like the director or something, you know, this random person in the background. It's like the director's daughter or something. It would always have the most random but such cool information about the music video. And so I was telling Brendan about that the other day. And that was such a great show. So anyway, but yeah, Pop-Up Video was my jam back in the day. Behind the Music too, which I'm sure that's not a surprise to anyone at all to hear. So back to Clapton's MTV Unplugged session back in 92. The session became a hit live album and showcased how this intimate setting could transform Clapton's catalog. Another iconic day this week in music, the birth of Mötley Crüe, January 17th, 1981. And speaking of the Whisky A Go-Go, Mötley Crüe is another band that is definitely on that list that can thank the iconic venue for being such an important part of their story. So on this day, bassist Nikki Sixx left the band London and began rehearsals with drummer Tommy Lee and Greg Leon, marking the beginning of what would become Mötley Crüe. Though the lineup evolved quickly with Vince Neil and Mick Mars soon joining, this early formation set the foundation for the band's future success. And of course, Mötley Crüe would go on to define the glam metal era. And there is a film, I don't recall the name of it, but it is so good. I'm actually going to take a minute here while I am recording this because I want to bring, The Dirt. That's what this film is. If you have not seen this movie, you need to watch this movie. It came out in 2019. this Google search that I'm doing right now in real time. It says that you can watch it on Netflix. I highly recommend that you watch that movie if you've never watched that. January 18th, 1973, the formation of Bad Company. Around this time, Bad Company officially formed, bringing together members of Frey, Mott, The Opal, and King Crimson. Fronted by Paul Rodgers, the band quickly became known for its blues-driven hard rock sound and no-frills approach. Their self-titled debut album would go on to produce classics like Can't Get Enough and Bad Company. The band's formation marked the rise of a more stripped-down, powerhouse style of 1970s rock that pushed back against excess and leaned into raw musicianship. That's one of our favorite things that I like to, not really a quiz, but we just like to kind of banter back and forth, Brendan and I, on, give me the name of the band, the album, and the song, and it would be Bad Company, by Bad Company off their self-titled debut album, Bad Company. Brendan just, loves that whole little joke. For now. We'll see when he thinks it's cringe. That will be a sad, sad day. Also in January 20th, 1982, Ozzy Osbourne's wild bat incident. During the live show, Ozzy famously bit the head off a bat that was thrown on stage, creating one of rock's most infamous moments. And no doubt that moment was defining for his kind of character of, the madman persona, and certainly added to the legend of his theatrical, unpredictable performances. He was never one to not seize the opportunity, right? January 22nd, 1972, Neil Young's solo debut. Neil Young releases his first solo album, stepping away from his work with Buffalo Springfield and Crazy Horse. The album highlighted his personal songwriting style, introspective lyrics, raw guitar work, and emotive vocals. This move marked a creative reinvention and solidified Young as a major voice in rock outside of a band setting. And this actually is a great example, perfectly demonstrates how solo projects can redefine an artist's identity and influence the direction of rock music. Someone else that really, as I was saying that, it popped into my head that I feel would be a really great also example of that. Peter Gabriel, for sure. But coming back to Neil Young, I don't want to go on a Peter Gabriel tangent because if you know me, I so can. So I'm trying to keep myself focused. But coming back to Neil Young, he's one of those artists that personally I was not really into when I was younger, honestly. Neil Young in a band outfit or as a solo artist is definitely music that I have connected with as I've gotten older. So that's, been very awesome for sure. But Neil Young is definitely somebody that I've had to grow into. I mean, I've actually seen Neil Young a couple times because I've gone to Farm Aid. Being a Dave Matthews fan, I've gone to Farm Aid a couple of times. It's such an awesome show and event. I just love the whole vibe and the message and the seminars and the talks and all the other guests that are not the music guests. But yeah, it's just such an awesome time. But Neil Young is a part of that, a huge part of that. He's one of the founding guys of that. So I've had the chance to see him a couple of times. So that's definitely very cool. Also on January 22nd, 1959, Buddy Holly's last recordings in the weeks before his tragic death. Buddy Holly recorded some of his final songs alone in his New York apartment with just an acoustic guitar and a tape recorder. Tracks included Peggy Sue Got Married, Crying, Waiting, Hoping, and Learning the Game. These intimate apartment tapes show Holly stripped down away from the studio, capturing raw, personal versions of his songs that would reveal his songwriting process. Also on January 22nd in 1966, the Beach Boys cut Wouldn't It Be Nice? The Beach Boys began recording this instrumental track, which would open their landmark album, Pet Sounds. The session, featuring top studio musicians, marked a major step in Brian Wilson's ambitious, layered approach to pop production. Vocals and harmonies were overdubbed in later sessions, creating a lush, intricate sound that redefined what rock music could be. Birthdays this week in music: January 16th, Sade, the English soul singer known for hits like Smooth Operator, born in 1959. Also, Aaliyah, the late R&B icon. She was so talented. If you know, you know. She was born in 1979. January 17th, Mick Taylor, former guitarist of the Rolling Stones, and Susanna Hoffs of the Bangles. Yes, Walk Like an Egyptian. That song is such a banger. I think I need to listen to that. I haven't listened to that in a long time. January 19th, Janis Joplin was born in 1943. Dolly Parton was born in 1946. And actually, we are currently learning about Dolly Parton in our music lesson in homeschool. We've been reading a book about her. And then what we do these fun little poster projects and put like a really cool picture of the artist that we learned about and put some fun facts on there and our favorite things that we learned about them, some interesting things. And we'll watch a concert while we're working on our poster. It's been just a really cool to learn about all these different artists. And, something really fun that always happens, and I don't know how this happens, but every time that we pick an artist and it's just picking someone randomly, I'm not doing any sort of looking at any dates intentionally. I'm just picking artists that I would like to learn about and I think that Brendan would be interested and needs to learn about. But it always seems to work out that we learn about the artist and it happens to be their birthday, and like their birthday will come up during the time frame that we're learning about them. So that's just been like a really cool, fun coincidence that always happens, and cool too because then we get to celebrate their birthday. So yeah, that's kind of a fun, nerdy thing. And Dolly Parton's birthday is January 19th. And also Robert Palmer, the British rock pop singer known for many songs, but off the top of my head, of course, Addicted to Love, born in 1949. He passed away in 2003. January 20th birthdays, Paul Stanley of Kiss, born in 1952. Legendary drummer Questlove of The Roots, born in 1971. And January 22nd, Steve Perry, the iconic voice of Journey, born in 1949. And the late lead singer of In Excess, Michael Hutchins, was born on this day in 1960. And remembering this week, Glenn Frey, who passed away in 2016, and David Crosby, who passed away in 2023, both of them on January 18th. So yeah, I think that's everything I have for this week of the show. I have so many other little notes of episode ideas. I'm actually... One of the books that I am currently reading, one of the music books that I'm reading at the moment, gave me an idea for an episode here on the show. So I think that's going to be coming up next week. That's kind of my idea with that. I'm going to look at my content calendar again. I have some very fun conversations coming up soon on my calendar, so stay tuned for those. And if you are interested, or someone you know or you think would be a great guest here on the show, there is a link in the show notes for my calendar. You can just go right ahead and schedule a time right on there that works for you. Or reach out to me if you don't want to be so bold and schedule a time first. But either way, it's totally cool with me. But my calendar is in there, so that gives you my availability. And yeah, I would love to chat. There's also, when you go to the website, datcmediacompany.com, and you go under the contact tab, there's also my calendar for my consulting services. If you have a band that's working on getting a new album out and you need some help with PR or album release, parties, you're wanting to do your own podcast or creative project, there's just all sorts of different things that I have knowledge and expertise about that I would be happy to help with. So there is also my dates available there. I will say my calendar fills up fast, and that's very truthful and honest. My calendar fills up quickly between running my media empire and the kids in the house and everything else. So if you want to set a time to chat, I would suggest you grab it and get on my calendar. What else is there? Oh yes, my Tuesday live show over on YouTube, Something On. That will be coming back next Tuesday evening, the 27th. I believe that is, if I'm doing like the quick math in my head. So if you're listening to this when this airs on the 20th, which is a Tuesday, next Tuesday, I will be going live over on YouTube for my live show, Something On. I was going to do one this week, but then I remembered that it was Brendan's birthday. So I was like, nope, we are going to go live next week. So come on over and hang out with me next Tuesday, the 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you are interested in being a guest on that show, there is a link for the calendar over there in the same spot also for that. Those are specifically, obviously, those Tuesday evening dates. So, yeah. And of course, if you have any questions about anything at all, feel free to reach out. You know where to find me on the socials, and the email address is also in the show notes. And I think that is everything that I wanted to say, wanted to share before we wrap it up this week. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it so much that you spend your time with me. It really, really means the world to me. So with that, I will see you around these parts next week. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Please be sure to leave a review of the show. It would mean so much to me, and it helps get this podcast into the ears of even more fellow music fans. If you're not already following the show on social media, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Dropped Among This Crowd Podcast, or check out datcmediacompany.com for more. Thank you again. I'll see you around these parts real soon. Mad love.